It's really where we talk about things that we're just trying to figure it out. Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Kemaray, and you're watching hashtag JTFIO, or Just Trying to Figure It Out podcast. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe to this podcast so that you can find out and hear every time we have a new episode. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel where I also post video versions of the podcast. Make sure you like the video and comment your thoughts on this week's episode. We know that on Just Trying to Figure It Out, we are just trying to figure out things. And this week, what we're just trying to figure out is the Black church. All right, I know I said it. It's been a long witstanding feeling. And, you know, the Black church right now for me is like, it's kind of like vegetables. It's kind of like vegetables. Like, made the right way. Brussels sprouts made the right way with a little crunch, with a little crisp, with a little drizzle or something on them. Good, bomb. And they good for you on top of that? Yes, period. But if they're soggy, if they just got any hint of just, they're not it, if they're boiled, you know, I used to be that type. I don't want that. I don't want that. Same dish, made differently. I can't take. And that's where I'm at with the Black church. Something has happened where time has evolved the Black church and turned it into something really ugly. And it seems like we're trying to make a turn. We're trying to take a turn and come on back and realize the root and where we're supposed to be at and what we're supposed to be doing. And I'm thankful for that. But we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the things that got us here. Okay. So the thing in the news this week was Marvin Sapp. You didn't hear about Marvin Sapp, or you don't know who he is. He's a famous gospel singer who also, I guess he has his own church in Dallas. And, you know, he's also the writer of Never Would Have Made It. Oh, never. That's his song. Okay. And you going in and you praising the Lord because that song's going to take you there. He saw the best in me. All of that. Okay. And, what happened in the clip was he is hosting a service. You know, I don't know if it's Revival Bible Study or the main Sunday service. He's on the pulpit with a group of deacons or men behind him, and they are telling everyone to give your $40, $1,000 here and $1,000 online. Give $40. We can get $40,000, and that's, you're going to sow your seed and blah, blah, blah. Now he was dragged. Okay, he was dragged, or at least the concept was dragged, and everybody said that they never would have paid it because you guys know that the running joke is Black pastors asking for your money. You're struggling to pay your bills. They're driving a Cadillac. That's the joke, and it's been that for some time. Okay, it's been that for some time. I think, although there is some truth and some that take advantage, it's not the truth for all, right? He could have just been trying to get money for the building fund, which is another punchline, right? Or he could be taking advantage of everybody. We don't know, right? But because of this bad taste of feeling taken advantage of by the Black church, that is why he was dragged. You're up there in your nice clothes and you got your awards and you're a gospel singer and all these things, but you want us to give our $40 and do blah, blah, blah. Well, we can have two conversations. It is a building. It is a church that still needs money and funds to be ran. So how do they get that? How do they do that? And if they have dreams of trying to be a mega church and do all the things, how do they do that? Do they fundraise? I'm kind of answering my own question. Do they go out and ask for companies to support? I don't know how a church does it, because at the end of the day, a church should be a place that comforts you and gives you counsel and helps you get through your things and gives you a place to meet with common people who believe what you believe in, and you praise God and you admonish God and all these things. That's the place that it should be. And I know that growing up, it was that. And it made us feel good because we sang in the choir. We went to choir practice. We was up there on Sunday. We all wear our white shirt, blue jeans, or we wearing green this Sunday. We wearing red this Sunday. We wearing pastels this Sunday. We doing what needs to be done. We got our Easter speech. I know my Easter speech by heart, right? If you're an usher, you're going to usher practice, you're going to Bible study, you're going to vacation Bible school. We going to the lock-in. At my church, I was on the basketball team. It was a lot, right? A lot. And then when I became an adult, it felt good to now go to church for myself, choose a church for myself, and it felt good until the crossroad comes in of church, right? And the real world. Basically, Monday through Saturday. All of the things that you encompass and that you go through Monday through Saturday, what does it look like? What is the real tea here? Child, I'm trying to make sure my thing is recording. What is the real tea when I get out in the real world? Okay, it's Sunday. I've gotten the Bible lesson about showing love, right? And not being rude or mean to my neighbor. And now here it is, Sunday evening, and I have the chance to do it because my neighbor's car is now blocking my driveway and they got an attitude with me. Right? And so what is my solution on how I'm going to come at this person? Right? And I think when it's stuff like that, we talk and we laugh. We're like, you really want to come out of a bag on somebody and you really want to go off, but that's not the godly thing, blah, blah, blah. And, we figure that out. I think where it gets a little complicated for me is all of these public feelings from the Black church about certain things, but not the other things. The Black church is very vocal about LGBTQ, but not so vocal about sexual harassment, sexual assault. The Black church is very vocal about serving and submitting to your husband and the man being the head of the household, but they're not so vocal about women having a voice, women having a personality, or what women's place is just as an individual, right? What are you doing as a woman other than waiting on a man and waiting on a husband and serving your family? And there's many of women in the church who can tell you, either after, they've gotten divorced, or even if you just sat them down and just asked them some real questions and they weren't defensive and they were real, they would say, actually, I don't know. I don't have much sense of self because I've given it all to my kids. I've given it all to my husband. And so, yeah, if I was to redo it, I would want to, do things that make me happy sometimes, or do blah, 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 and do blah, blah, blah. That's not talked about in the church, right? And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be until we're talking about the latter or the opposite, right? So, yeah, I wanted to sit down and just talk and just try to figure out a couple things, okay? And this gets a little sticky because you break down religion versus relationship, right? Religious practices are, we can't wear jeans or pants. We can only wear skirts and dresses, or, no women in the pulpit, or if you have any scandal or sin going on and you're involved in any auxiliary or you're part of any ministry, you get sat down. And, for the most part, people understand these things about their church, so they toe the line or they keep things a secret. You guys know, a couple months ago, you had the girl who got pregnant. She was a teenager, I think. And the pastor had her get up in front of the church and apologize. And the pastor was saying, yep, and ain't no baby shower either. We ain't having no baby shower. Don't get the baby. The sin ain't in the baby. The sin is in the sex. So we ain't having no baby shower. And I remember thinking, yeah, but this is not This is not a pet fish. This is not something she did and it's going away. The baby will be born. The baby will, So what is your resolution by having no baby shower? She won't have any items and things that she needs for the child because she has to pay for this mistake over and over and over and over again. I don't want to harp on just going in on the Black church because I love the Black church. It's in me, right? But I just want us to be real about some of these things because they're unrealistic. They're unrealistic, and we create such a standard for each other that none of us can follow, not even the ones who set it consistently all the time. And then you lose people. Church should be about community. It should be about love. It should be about harmony and peace and uplifting, right? And when things get hard, which they will, then there's a way that you do that. There's a way that you work through the things. Yes, you're a teenager. Yes, you had sex and now you're pregnant. And let me talk to you about the very real things that are about to hit you. But we still love you. We're going to be here every step of the way. We're not going to cast you out or push you out or make you feel ashamed. That's the talk that you should be having, right? Because for me, I start to wonder, is it so much a sin as much as it's just looked down upon? As far as society views the thing, right? Because in this time, we're moving out of the time where teenage pregnancy is such a cliche type thing, because teenagers can finish school online. Teenagers they might get a job or they might find a way to, fend for themselves or whatever. And then the struggle is no longer there. And then if you look at that same teenager 15, 18 years from then, and they're, 36 and their kid is 18, and they still got the rest of their lives, was it really all that bad? I just start to think about sin versus societally looked down upon, right? Because looked down upon might be, a tight skirt, low cut shirt walking into church. Because we know that up in here, we should be coming to God. Holiness is right. Okay. We should be coming to God covered and all the things. But should we not come into the sanctuary like that because there are men looking around and we are tempting men? And at the end of the day, it is about the glorification of men? Or is it because God said, cover yourself? I don't know. I know that I was raised in the word, and for the most part, I understand where its place is, right? I understand what God has done for me. I understand what he sent his son for, and I understand his mission for me, what my ministry is and what I should be used for. What I don't understand is the people that get in the way of that or try to change the rules on everything based on what's acceptable in society. Because during slavery, white people could tell slaves anything, right? And that was one era. And then in the time before women had rights, men could tell women anything and use the Bible, right? And then when we moved on to Jim Crow laws and you had segregation, that was what was right at that time. Blacks over here, coloreds over here, whites over here. And even the oldest of oldest people in that time felt that's what was right. And people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, these people would have been considered people who are shaking the table, people who are causing a disturbance because they're not doing what is considered the norm. But us now looking at it, we're like, if they didn't shake the table, where would we be? So I'm just trying to figure out a couple of things, right? Because I enjoy church. So for the most part, I go, right? For the most part. Now, I'm not a member here in Houston going religiously, right? Religiously. But for the most part, I try to go at least once a month or tune in, or, I'll see different things that they're doing. And then also, I just try to be a good person. So I'm not just here to just bash the church. I love the church. I love the Black church. But we have some things that we have gotten wrong. We do. If you could just never, ever get a divorce, and there's no reality in divorces, and it's not godly and all these things, I just want y'all to stop saying that. It's not true. It's not true. There's so many things that are just not true. Okay? This whole mean girl culture, or this clique, or we're in this club and you can't get in type of culture that's in the Black church, and looking down at people as they walk in because they're not from there. How do you expect to get new members? Or correcting so much that you're not getting to know the person at all, or letting them share their experiences or who they are just enough to find out more about them and see about them and all these things. Because just because somebody's coming to a church doesn't mean that something's wrong. I mean, there's so many things I'm just trying to figure out. So when Marvin Sapp gets on his pulpit and he says he asked for $40,000 to build his new center or whatever, and he's confused about why the internet is abuzz, it's because while you're up there saying that and doing that, you understand that the money will come. People will pay the money and pay for your building. But what about all of these other things? Why is this building so important? What is wrong with your current building? There's so many other issues that we can attack or figure out. So many other issues. And if the church is what it is and what it's supposed to be at its core, we got so many other things to discuss. We got young boys, young Black boys who are afraid to show emotion, who have tempers, and who are doing things and going through things because they have no outlet, and they have all these expectations and all these things that they feel that they're supposed to be, and the Black church is not talking about it. They're cheating on their wives. They are, doing all these things. And it's coming from a place of hurt. It's coming from a place of a lack of direction. But y'all can't even direct yourselves enough to try to figure it out. We got how you guys are coming at the LGBTQ community, but it's fine when he's directing the choir. It's fine then. It's fine if we don't talk about it, as long as they're in church. Oh, we're going to pray the gay away. Okay, we're going to pray it out. Being gay is wrong. But is it though? Is it though? Or is it something that you've decided is wrong because it just doesn't look good, because it doesn't go with societal norms of what a man should be and what a woman should be? And so because of that, we've decided we don't want it. God said no. Blasphemy, blasphemy, thunder, rain, fire, brimstone, hell, hell, hell. Is it that? And I feel like it is. I feel like I said, it's a lot of things, because societally, that's what's said. So you're going to roll with it. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Who came up with all these rules, and why are we okay with them? Why isn't it just that the bottom line is love? Remember when we couldn't wear jeans, we couldn't wear hats, we couldn't wear certain things at church, and now it's like, girl, they're just clothes. Obviously come, in a way where you're not revealing yourself, because yes, unfortunately it is distracting to others. But at the same time, we're here to praise God, girl. Like all this other stuff about who somebody's sleeping with, if it ain't hurting nobody, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? You want all this money for your church, but is your church free of scandal? Is it a place that people can come to feel no judgment? Is it a place where people can come to praise God and feel like, okay, my religion may not It may not be popping like that, but my relationship, I hear God. I know what God has called me to do. I know what my purpose is. Because we can get into a lot of conversations, but I'm like, I want the pick me spirit to be done. I want it to be done. All this talk about how you can't as a woman because it doesn't acknowledge the man. It's just not realistic. So are we saying people who never got a man or never did with a man, or there's no history of the man or whatever, didn't do great things, or they didn't do what they were supposed to do? Or men who never got a woman either? Like, come on. Like, let's boil this down to just common sense. Common sense. Common sense. Because the unfortunate thing in the Black church is if we're nervous about how other people are going to perceive it, we're just going to stay quiet. It's not their business. What happens in my house stays in my house. And I just wonder how much good that's really doing. Obviously, this is a series because it is something that we're going to have to keep talking about, because I just start to wonder. Like, when I think about, I should really get into tithing because, I think somebody said one time, like, who gonna bury you? Because a church is not gonna bury you if you're not a member. And I'm like, politics. But politics run this country, so it's gonna be important to make sure that we are a part of a church home, to make sure you are taken care of when you're not here anymore. But then I'm like, well, I'm a veteran. But I'm just like, obviously there's duality, like I said, and nuance in things where one thing doesn't mean the other. Okay. And you can be a little bit of this, and you can be a little bit of that. And, we found our way. We find our way. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out that this week. The Black church, like, what's the plan? What's the plan? You have pushed out women who got pregnant when they were teenagers. You've pushed out women who've gotten a divorce or have kids out of wedlock. You've pushed out the LGBTQ community. You've kept molesters. You've kept men who are sleeping around. You've kept people leading double lives. You've kept money-hungry people. You've kept them because they look good on the outside without acknowledging the double life or the double walk. And where did you end up? Where did you end up? Where are you trying to go? Inquiring minds want to know. Because if you're telling someone that divorce means that you are done, you'll never make it, it is the ultimately wrong thing to do, are you really being real? Are you really being real? Or does your philosophy need to be updated based on what you've now seen is acceptable in society? Because if you're gonna say that about this, are you gonna say that about that? I don't know. At the end of the day, this is my ask for this week. If you are a Black churchgoer, this is something that you are faithful to, you believe in it, you understand the things that have come with it, and you are a strong believer in the Black church. Are you there because of religion, or are you there because of relationship? Are you there because of religious practices? You enjoy the carrying on, you enjoy getting dressed up, you enjoy eating together, fellowshipping together, or are you there with the true understanding that your relationship with God is intact and you understand his purpose for your life? You're good to people, you're nice to people, you're kind to people, you're loving to people. Are you that? And if we all truly challenged ourselves, I think we would see, no, we are not. No, we are not. If the ultimate bottom line of Christianity is to show love, we got a lot of work to do. We look at people crazy often. And I think the conviction that I felt in my soul when I feel like I know God is talking to me, I know God is convicting me to do this, I know God is the reason why I haven't snapped on this person, why it's just not in me. I start to feel like this is just not even in me. I only know how to be who I am and who you've called me to be, no matter where I'm at. And I think when you're like that, then you truly understand where God is not present. And you become more about the glitz, the glamour, the lights, the action, and all the things, and the hot takes and saying all the things. And we've lost our way, and that's okay. Just be real about it. I really appreciated when Ty Tribbett came out and said, yeah, I was tripping when I was singing back then, and I was like, come out of lesbianism, come out of this, come out of that. I'm saying what the Black church has told to me, has put in me, but I had my own struggle I was going through myself, and I'm projecting these things on all of these things that I hear in the Black church, thinking that I'm better or above those things. Later learning, we all have our walks, we all have our struggles, we all have our things. Another person is, her name just slipped my mind. What is her name? She got the locks, and she looks like a stud. She's like a stud, but she's a pastor. But then she's like, trying to convince us that, she's not gay or she's not a stud, and she wants us to suffer. She thinks that Christianity is, if you're going to be a Christian, you have to be willing to suffer. And I just thought that was so interesting. I thought that was so interesting. What is that lady's name? I know if I Google, I'm going to find her pretty quickly here. Oh, Lord, let me see. What is her name? I don't remember her name, but I really want to get it because dang it. And I know when I finish, her name is going to come up. Yeah, I don't, God dang it. I can't think of her name. But anyway, I'm gonna move on. But yeah, she was saying that, and you know how Christianity, you have to be willing to suffer and all of these things. And it just made me think, because I was like, I mean, if you are anyone who's trying to get saved and essentially save your own life, and you hear something like that, I just think that's just not true. I don't think that you have to suffer. And I think I remember being a little younger saying like, you should suffer, or you should go through some growing pains. Maybe that's what I meant. And maybe that's what she was saying. I don't know. But I'm like, I don't think God wanted us to be hateful towards each other, judging each other. He's the ultimate judge, right? So when you fix your mouth to tell somebody that they're going to hell because of something that they're doing, how is that for you to say? And now you've cast them out, and now they no longer have a place that they can come and be jovial and feel joy. And now they have a bitterness and a hate in their heart for a place. And now you've done the direct opposite of what God asked you to do. And now you feel self-righteous because you've essentially weeded your garden and gotten out the bad eggs, basically. And you feel proud of yourself. But that's not the call. That's not what God said. But anyway, I just want to know, I'm just trying to figure out Black church tropes and our way forward and what you think about it this week. If you guys also saw in the news, Jess and Lauren, there is an update on the Breakfast Club. They did come out with like a little spoof of like The Boy Is Mine, The Show Is Mine. And I thought that was cute. Remember last week I was saying, they should do something to play on this, capitalize on this, make money on this, go to brunch, talk about it, and get in front of this. Because right now you guys are the hot topic, and they did just that. So I appreciate that. It's funny because I've talked a lot about friendships this week and just understanding, different people's place in your life. I listened to Duran and how he was saying like you can fall in love like with a friend and like friendships. And, as I get older, it is important to me to cultivate those friendships. So I would just challenge you, who are your friends and what are you doing to contribute to your friendships in good ways? How are you cultivating growth and happiness and joy and peace and not ridicule and meanness and all the things? And I can be a very hard individual, and sometimes it's very hard for me to be soft. And so that's a challenge for me, to be a little bit softer. What's a challenge for you this week? Those are the things that I'm just trying to figure out this week. What am I listening to? I listened to that Mutt remix with Chris Brown. I was playing that a little bit because I wanted to hear that. Now, y'all know Chris Brown's a little problematic because he is abusive. But I did want to hear that remix with him on there. He sounds the same as he always does on every song. But sounded good. I finally listened to Duran's album and that sounded good as well. I checked. It's still sold out. Toby's supposed to be coming here to Houston next weekend. My girlfriend wants to go. And I'm like, she really likes him, but she won't push the button. And I don't know what has her hesitating. So I'm like, are we going? We're not going. We're going. We're not going. And then I did go see Kev on stage last week, and it was a great show. I'm telling you, I had on this little dress. I don't know where I thought I was going. I read that he was doing the show at a church. And, in my mind, I always just be thinking like church should be free of judgment. But I walked up in that church. I had on a little cover thing, a little kimono thing. So it wasn't just all bad. And I wasn't the only one. Girls was in there with their little crop tops and all kind of stuff. And, it was a good time. It was a good time. And it made me feel like his set specifically made me miss church because he did talk a lot about the things that made church good, not the foolery. So yeah, I want to know what you guys thought about this week's topic and what you're listening to this week or what you listened to last week. Remember that the show drops every Sunday. We're going to try to keep this very consistent and keep rolling with it. I told my sister I'm challenging myself with this soft opening, and I haven't really told many people that I'm back. I just kind of trying to do my work, keep my head down and keep doing my work. Okay. But I'm Kim Ray. This is podcast called #JTFIO or Just Trying to Figure It Out. Like it, follow it, comment, subscribe, all the things. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.